Pride before the fall. The vast observation deck of the diplomatic vessel Artemis offered an unobstructed view of the approaching conclave station. Commander Alara Voss stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her tall frame silhouetted against the starfield beyond. The massive ring-shaped station glittered with countless lights, rotating slowly to generate gravity for its many inhabitants. "Quite the sight, isn't it?" said Dr. Naomi Winters, joining Voss at the viewport. The quantum physicist's dark eyes reflected the distant lights of the station, a mixture of awe and apprehension visible in them. "A testament to what we're up against," Voss replied, her voice steady despite the weight of their mission. "The Galactic Conclave has been crossing the stars for millennia. We've barely managed interstellar travel for 2 decades. The Artemis represented humanity's first official diplomatic mission to the Conclave, an alliance of 17 advanced alien civilizations that controlled most of the known galaxy. After years of petition, Earth had finally been granted provisional membership, a status that put humans barely above non-sentient species in the Conclave hierarchy. The ship's communication system chimed. "Commander Voss, we've been granted docking clearance," reported Lieutenant Diallo from the bridge. "The Conclave representatives will receive our delegation in 1 hour." Voss nodded, though the lieutenant couldn't see her. "Acknowledged. Inform the team to prepare." She turned to Winters, whose expertise in quantum mechanics had earned her a place on this crucial mission. "Remember the briefing. No matter what they say or how they treat us, we represent all of humanity, dignity at all costs." "Even when they treat us like children?" Winters asked with a wry smile. "Especially then," Voss replied, straightening her formal uniform. The navy blue fabric was adorned with Earth's new planetary insignia, a simplified globe encompassed by a laurel wreath. It had been designed specifically for this diplomatic mission, intended to project unity and peace. The Conclave Council chamber was overwhelming by design. A massive dome stretched overhead, displaying a real-time map of the known galaxy with the Conclave territories highlighted in brilliant blue. The human delegation, consisting of Voss, Winters, and 3 other specialists, stood on a small platform at the center of the chamber, surrounded by rising tiers filled with representatives of the 17-member species. High Arbiter Thelos, a towering 8-limbed being with iridescent skin, presided over the proceedings. "The delegation from Earth may now address the Conclave," he announced, his words translated by the small devices implanted behind the human's ears. Voss stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we express our gratitude for this historic opportunity. Though we are newcomers to interstellar travel, humans bring unique perspectives and capabilities to the Conclave. We seek mutual exchange of knowledge and—" A rumbling sound interrupted her. It took Voss a moment to recognize it as laughter, coming from multiple species simultaneously. "Forgive the interruption," said a serpentine being identified by Voss's translator as Ambassador Krell of the Saurian Imperium. "But what unique perspectives could your species possibly offer? Your technological development is rudimentary at best. Your scientific understanding is primitive." Voss maintained her composure. "With respect, Ambassador, human adaptability and innovative thinking have allowed us to advance from our first powered flight to interstellar travel in less than 2 centuries. A pace that only emphasizes your impatience and recklessness," countered a floating gelatinous entity. "Your species still wages war against itself. Your climate teeters on collapse. You have nothing to teach the Conclave." For 2 hours, the pattern continued. Each time Voss or another human delegate attempted to establish diplomatic dialogue, they were met with dismissal or condescension. The Conclave representatives seemed less interested in diplomacy than in reminding humans of their cosmic insignificance. When the formal proceedings concluded, High Arbiter Thelos approached the delegation. "The Conclave has decided to offer Earth a welcoming gift," he announced, his upper limbs performing a complex gesture that the humans' cultural briefings identified as indicative of benevolence, or possibly amusement. Hope flickered briefly in Voss's chest. "The Conclave is generous." "Follow me," Thelos instructed. A transport carried them to a vast section of the station where thousands of objects, from small devices to entire ship sections, floated in organized arrangements within containment fields. This, Thelos said with a sweeping gesture of his multiple limbs, is now Earth's. Dr. Winters moved closer to the observation window. What exactly are we looking at? Our reclamation facility, Krell answered, joining them unexpectedly. Technology deemed obsolete or irreparable by conclave standards. Voss struggled to maintain her diplomatic expression. You're giving us your discards. We're giving you a head start, Thelos replied, not bothering to hide the condescension in his tone. Even our discarded technology is centuries beyond your current capabilities. Perhaps studying it will help your species catch up. The other conclave representatives made no attempt to disguise their amusement. Voss felt a flush of anger warm her face but kept her voice even. Earth acknowledges and accepts the conclave's generous gift. Back aboard the Artemis, the human delegation gathered in the conference room. Admiral Terrence Way's hologram flickered above the central table as they reported the outcome of the meeting. So they've given us their garbage, Way summarized, his expression grim. A deliberate insult. Yes, but Dr. Winters had been uncharacteristically quiet since their return, reviewing data on her tablet. She looked up suddenly, excitement breaking through her usual reserve. Admiral, Commander, this isn't just garbage. Everyone turned to her as she projected her findings onto the main display. These are drive cores from at least 5 different technological traditions, weapons systems from species that joined the conclave millennia ago, sensor arrays that operate on principles we've barely theorized. She stood, unable to contain her excitement. The conclave races all developed along different technological paths. They're so advanced that they've stopped looking at alternatives. They only look forward along their established traditions. Voss began to understand, but humans. We've always excelled at taking existing ideas and combining them in ways no one expected, Winters finished. The conclave thinks they're mocking us, but they've handed us the greatest collection of diverse technologies humans have ever encountered. For the first time since arriving at the station, Commander Voss smiled. How quickly can you assemble a team? Give me 3 weeks and a secure facility, Winters replied. I'll gather the brightest minds on Earth. Admiral Way's hologram nodded thoughtfully. I'll secure the resources. Where do you propose to set up this facility? Ceres, Voss suggested. The asteroid belt provides natural camouflage, and we already have mining infrastructure there we can repurpose. Way nodded. I'll make it happen. What do we call this initiative? Voss looked through the viewport at the distant Earth, a tiny blue marble against the vastness of space, then back at the condescending alien station. Project Odysseus, she said firmly. Winters raised an eyebrow. The hero who used cunning to defeat a superior enemy. Precisely, Voss replied. The conclave thinks they've given us trash. Let's show them what humans can build from scraps. 4 months after the conclave meeting, the Ceres facility had been transformed into the most advanced research installation in human history. Deep within the asteroid, a cavernous chamber had been hollowed out, now filled with components from the alien gift, organized according to function and origin. Dr. Winters floated through the zero-gravity central workspace, where dozens of Earth's top scientists and engineers worked on various sections of what would become humanity's answer to conclave condescension. Professor Taikta, how's the propulsion analysis coming? She asked, approaching a cluster of engineers working on a glowing cylindrical object. Jun Taikta looked up from his workstation, exhaustion evident in his eyes despite his enthusiasm. Fascinating and frustrating in equal measure. This drive operates on principles we've only theorized about. It manipulates spatial fabric directly instead of pushing against it. Can we replicate it? Not exactly, Taikta admitted. But here's the interesting part. He gestured to a hybrid assembly nearby where components from 3 different alien systems had been connected to human interfaces. We've found that by combining elements from the Arcturian fold drive with aspects of the Mendari displacement engine, we get something new, something that shouldn't work according to either species' physics models, but does. Winters smiled. That's exactly the kind of thinking we need. Her next stop was the weapons section, where Dr. Rashid Kauri was testing what appeared to be a modified cannon assembly. "Tell me you have good news, Rashid," Winters said. Kauri's face lit up with excitement. "Better than good, I have a breakthrough." He pointed to the strange device before him. "The Saurians use crystalline focusing for their energy weapons, more precise than anything we've developed. The Phaedon use quantum-entangled targeting systems. Neither technology works well with human interfaces. So I stopped trying to make our systems compatible with theirs and instead built something new." He activated the weapon, which projected a targeting display unlike anything Winters had seen before. "By combining principles from both with human adaptive algorithms, we've created a weapons system that can learn and adjust during combat." Similar reports came from throughout the facility. Human ingenuity was finding ways to make incompatible alien technologies work together, not just connecting them, but transforming them into something entirely new. 6 months into the project, Commander Voss returned to Ceres for a progress report. Dr. Winters led her through the facility, pointing out key developments that exceeded even their optimistic projections. "The breakthrough came when we stopped trying to understand everything and focused on results," Winters explained as they entered the main construction hangar. "We found that we can combine technologies from different conclave species in ways they never attempted." "Why would they never attempt it?" Voss asked. "Politics mostly. The conclave species don't collaborate well with each other. Each follows their own technological tradition, with millennia of refinement. Plus, many systems were deliberately designed to be incompatible to prevent enemies from using captured technology." "But that doesn't stop us," Voss said, beginning to understand. "Exactly. We're outside their traditions. We're taking components from a dozen different alien cultures and making them work together." Winters gestured toward the center of the hangar, where the skeletal framework of a massive ship was taking form. "That's Odysseus." Voss stared at the emerging vessel. It was unlike any human or alien craft she had ever seen, with a design that seemed to flow organically despite its mechanical nature. "It's beautiful." "And terrifying," Winters added with a small smile. "Just as we intended." The tour continued through testing chambers where various systems were being evaluated. In one, a small model ship hovered within what appeared to be a bubble of distorted space. "That's not anti-gravity," explained Professor Taekta. "It's a localized space-time distortion field. The Phaedons use it for short-range transport, but we've modified it to work as a defensive shield. Physical weapons pass through it at greatly reduced velocity, and energy weapons are scattered or diverted." "What about power requirements?" Voss asked, knowing this would be the critical limitation. Winters led her to a sealed chamber where a team worked around a pulsing cube of swirling energy. "We call it the Nexus Core," she explained. "It combines 3 different alien power generation systems, not just connected, but actually merged into a single new system." As if on cue, the cube pulsed violently and alarms blared. Taekta rushed to a control panel. "Containment fluctuation, everyone back." The team evacuated with practiced efficiency as the cube's light grew brighter. "Should we run?" Voss asked tensely. Winters checked readings on her tablet. "No need, watch." The cube expanded, then suddenly contracted, stabilizing into a steady glow. "The containment field is learning," Winters explained with evident pride. "We've incorporated adaptive algorithms. Every fluctuation teaches the system how to better control the reaction." As their tour concluded, a security alert sounded throughout the facility. Winters quickly checked her communications device. "Perimeter alert! Something's been detected near the asteroid." They rushed to the command center, where security officers tracked a small object moving erratically around the facility. "Conclave design," said Chief of Security Rodriguez. "Looks like a surveillance probe." Voss's expression hardened. "They've found us." Maybe not, Winters countered. It could be routine surveillance. The Conclave maintains patrols throughout the system. Can we destroy it before it reports back? Voss asked. Winters exchanged looks with Cowery, who had joined them in the command center. I have a better idea, he said with a slight smile. Let's capture it instead. Within hours, the probe had been secured using a modified tractor beam. Instead of destroying it, Cowery's team had already begun disassembling it in a secure lab. Stealth technology, Cowery explained as they examined the components. Some of the most advanced we've seen, but now it's ours to study and incorporate. Winters turned to Voss. Every challenge is an opportunity. Voss nodded slowly, looking back at the emerging form of Odysseus taking shape in the main hangar. How long until it's ready? Basic systems, another 4 months, Winters estimated. Full capabilities, perhaps 8. We're not just building a ship, Commander. We're inventing an entirely new approach to space technology. As Voss prepared to depart, she took one final look at the embryonic vessel that represented humanity's response to Conclave condescension. For the first time since meeting the alien representatives, she felt something beyond anger or humiliation. She felt hope. They gave us scraps, Voss said quietly. Winters finished the thought with a determined smile. And we're building something they never imagined possible, defiance rising. 11 months after Project Odysseus began, Commander Alara Voss stood on the command deck of the vessel that would redefine humanity's place in the galaxy. What had begun as a skeletal framework was now a sleek warship, unlike anything human or alien eyes had ever witnessed. The Odysseus defied conventional design philosophy. Its hull flowed like liquid metal, sections merging seamlessly into one another without the angular junctions typical of spacecraft. The surface displayed an iridescent sheen that seemed to shift colors as light played across it, the result of composite materials derived from 7 different alien technological traditions. She's ready, Commander, Dr. Winters announced, joining Voss at the central command station. The quantum physicist had changed over the months of the project. The academic reserve had given way to a steely confidence born from countless breakthroughs and setbacks. The final system integrations are complete. Winters nodded. We've run every simulation possible. Now we need a real-world test. Voss studied the ship's status displays, hovering as holographic projections around the command center. Each station was manned by specialists chosen not just for their technical expertise, but for their ability to think beyond conventional boundaries, the defining trait that had made Project Odysseus possible. Initiate pre-launch sequence, Voss ordered, settling into the commander's chair. Odysseus Control, this is Commander Voss. Request clearance for departure. Clearance granted, Commander, came the reply from the series facility control center. All moorings releasing. You are clear to navigate. Professor Takeda's voice reported from the engineering station. Nexus core stable at 40% capacity. All systems drawing power normally. Dr. Cowery added from tactical, defensive systems online. Shields, point defense, and weapons arrays responsive. Voss took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth, the culmination of humanity's response to cosmic dismissal. Lieutenant Rivera, take us out. Thrusters at 10%. The helmsman's fingers danced across his console. Thrusters engaged at 10%, Commander. A slight vibration passed through the deck as the maneuvering systems activated. On the main view screen, the cavernous hangar began to recede as Odysseus glided forward with surprising grace for a vessel of its size. Increase to 30%, Voss ordered once they had cleared the hangar. Take us to the test coordinates. The asteroid belt provided perfect cover for their maiden voyage, dense enough to mask their energy signature from distant sensors, but navigable with the Odysseus's advanced detection systems. As they approached the designated testing area, Voss stood from her chair. All stations prepare for full system test. Professor Takeda, status of the Nexus core. Stable and responsive, Commander. Ready for power increase on your mark. Voss nodded. Tactical, deploy defensive shields. Cowrie pressed a sequence on his console. Deploying shields now. Outside the ship, space itself seemed to ripple as the modified Phaedon distortion field activated, creating a bubble of altered physics around the Odysseus. The effect was subtle but unmistakable. Stars visible through the viewscreen appeared slightly distorted, their light bending around the ship's protective envelope. Shields at full capacity, Cowrie confirmed. Ready for weapons test. Target the designated asteroid, Voss ordered, indicating a medium-sized rock floating 2 kilometers away. Cowrie aligned the targeting systems. Target acquired, hybrid beam weapons charged. Fire. A pulse of energy, neither the pure plasma of human weapons nor the coherent light of alien ones, but something new altogether, lanced from the Odysseus toward the asteroid. Upon impact, the rock didn't simply explode. It seemed to implode first, collapsing inward before shattering in a spectacular display of pulverized matter. Stunned silence fell over the bridge, broken only by Cowrie's whispered, "That was at 30% power." Voss allowed herself a small smile. "Impressive, now for the main event." She turned to Takeda. "Professor, prepare the fold drive for test jump." This was the most critical test, the propulsion system that combined principles from 3 different alien technologies with human innovations. In simulations, it worked flawlessly. Reality, however, had a way of introducing unexpected variables. "Fold drive spooling up," Takeda reported, his voice calm despite the tension visible in his posture. "Field generators stable, containment holding, we are go for jump." Voss returned to her seat. "Lieutenant Rivera, input coordinates for Jupiter's L5 point." "Coordinates set, Commander." "Execute jump." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the stars outside began to stretch, not in the linear manner of conventional faster-than-light travel, but as if space itself was folding around the ship. A sensation like falling sideways washed over the crew, a momentary disorientation as fundamental physics rewrote itself around them. 3 seconds later, the disorientation passed. The viewscreen showed the massive form of Jupiter dominating the starfield, exactly where it should be. "Position confirmed," Rivera announced, unable to keep excitement from his voice. "We're at Jupiter's L5 point, jump precision within 0.003%. The bridge erupted in cheers. Voss allowed the celebration for a moment before raising her hand for quiet. "Well done, everyone, but this is just the beginning." She turned to communications. "Send coded transmission to Admiral Way. Message reads, Odysseus operational. All systems exceed projections. Awaiting further instructions." What Voss couldn't know was that their test jump had created an energy signature, unlike anything seen in the galaxy before. A ripple in spacetime distinctive enough to catch the attention of long-range conclave sensors. 2 days later, as the Odysseus conducted further system tests in Jupiter's shadow, sensors detected 3 approaching vessels. "Conclave signatures," Cowrie reported, studying his tactical display. "Saurian design, military configuration." Voss's expression hardened. "They found us sooner than expected, battle stations." Throughout the ship, alert signals sounded as crew members moved with practiced efficiency to their combat positions. The Odysseus had been designed for this moment, the inevitable confrontation when the conclave discovered what humans had created from their technological scraps. "They're hailing us," reported Communications Officer Patel. Voss straightened her uniform. "On screen." The viewscreen flickered, replacing Jupiter's swirling storms with the scaled visage of a Saurian commander. Voss recognized the insignia. This was no mere patrol captain, but a fleet commander. "Unidentified vessel," the Saurian began, its translator rendering the hissing language into stilted English. "You have violated conclave space with unauthorized technology. Power down your systems and prepare for boarding." Voss raised an eyebrow. "This is Commander Alara Voss of the Earth vessel Odysseus. We are in Sol system space, human territory by conclave recognition. Your presence here constitutes an incursion." The saurian's facial scales rippled in what humans had learned was an expression of contempt. Your vessel utilizes restricted technologies beyond your species' development level. Surrender now or face destruction. Voss turned to Cowrie, mooting the transmission. Analysis. 3 hegemony-class cruisers, he replied. Significant firepower, but nothing we haven't prepared for. They're spreading out, standard Saurian encirclement pattern. Voss nodded and reactivated the communication. Fleet Commander, we have constructed this vessel using technologies gifted to us by the Conclave itself. We have violated no treaties or regulations. The gift was meant for study, not implementation, the Saurian hissed. You have 10 of your minutes to power down or we will open fire. The transmission cut. Voss turned to her bridge crew. It seems the Conclave doesn't appreciate our ingenuity, opinions. Dr. Winters spoke first. Running means admitting wrongdoing. Fighting 3 cruisers could be catastrophic. Not necessarily, Cowrie countered. Their weapons are formidable but predictable, and they've never encountered our defensive systems. Professor Taekda added, the Nexus Core can handle full combat operations. This is what we built Odysseus for, Commander. Voss considered their input, then made her decision. We stand our ground. This ship represents humanity's future among the stars. I won't surrender it to those who intended us to remain inferior. She activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, prepare for combat operations. This is not a drill. Turning to tactical, she continued, Dr. Cowrie, deploy full defensive measures but hold weapons. Let them make the first move. Shields at maximum. Point defense online, Cowrie confirmed. The minutes ticked by in tense silence. When the deadline passed, the lead Saurian cruiser fired, a brilliant beam of energy streaking across space toward the Odysseus. Instead of the catastrophic impact expected, the energy dissipated against the ship's distortion field, creating a rippling light show but causing no damage. Shields holding at 97%, Cowrie reported. Minor power fluctuation in the aft array, compensating now. The Saurian vessels fired again, this time all 3 simultaneously from different vectors. Again, the Odysseus's shields absorbed and dispersed the energy. They're moving to surround us completely, Rivera observed from the helm. Voss nodded. Let them. Lieutenant Rivera, on my mark, execute a micro-jump to these coordinates. She input a series of numbers into her console. Coordinates received, micro-jump ready. The Saurian vessels continued their approach, weapons firing continuously now in patterns designed to overwhelm conventional defenses. The Odysseus's shields flickered but held. Mark. Space folded around the Odysseus. When it reappeared, it was directly behind the lead Saurian cruiser, a maneuver impossible with standard drive technology. Target their propulsion systems, Voss ordered. Minimal power. Cowrie's fingers danced across his console. Targeting complete. Fire. The hybrid weapon system discharged, its energy striking the Saurian vessel with surgical precision. The cruiser's engines flared and died, leaving it drifting. Their shields are down, Cowrie reported with surprise. 1 hit and we penetrated all defenses. The remaining Saurian vessels attempted to regroup, clearly shocked by both the Odysseus's jump capability and its weapon's effectiveness. Open a channel, Voss ordered. When the Saurian commander appeared on screen again, the contempt had been replaced by something closer to alarm. This encounter can end here, Voss stated calmly. Your lead vessel is disabled, but its crew is unharmed. Withdraw your forces from Sol system, and we will consider this matter resolved. The Saurian commander studied her with all 4 of its eyes. This is not finished, human. The Conclave will not tolerate such weapons in the hands of a junior species. We built this ship from your discards, Voss replied. Perhaps you should reconsider what you choose to throw away and who you choose to underestimate. The communication ended. The 2 functional Saurian cruisers moved to retrieve their disabled companion, then slowly retreated from Jupiter space. As the alien vessels disappeared into the distance, the bridge crew of the Odysseus exchanged looks of relief and pride. "They'll be back," Winters said, breaking the silence, "and in greater numbers." "Undoubtedly," Voss agreed. "But we've proven the Odysseus concept works, and we've sent a message that humans won't be dismissed or contained." She turned to communications. "Officer Patel, send a complete battle record to Earth Command. Include my formal recommendation that we accelerate production of additional vessels based on Odysseus technology." The ripples from this first encounter spread quickly through the conclave. Within weeks, debate raged among the 17-member species. Some, particularly those who had themselves once been junior species, advocated for acceptance of human innovation. Others demanded immediate military action to seize or destroy the Odysseus before humans could build more such vessels. In the midst of this political turmoil, the Odysseus continued its mission. With Earth Command's blessing, Commander Voss led her ship beyond the solar system, making diplomatic contact with smaller non-conclave species who had long lived in the shadow of the dominant alliance. 6 months after the Jupiter incident, the Odysseus encountered a Mendari science vessel in the Procyon system. Unlike the hostile Saurians, the insectoid Mendari, one of the younger conclave species, requested a peaceful meeting. "Your vessel is extraordinary," the Mendari ambassador chittered as Voss led a tour of the Odysseus. "We recognize components of our technology, but implement it in ways we never considered." "Humans excel at finding connections between seemingly disparate systems," Voss explained. "We see possibilities where others see only established patterns." The Mendari's antennae twitched thoughtfully. "The Saurian Imperium and their allies push for war against Earth. They fear what your species might become." "And the Mendari position?" "We believe there is another path. Several conclave members now question the wisdom of dismissing human potential. We propose an alliance, your innovative thinking combined with our established infrastructure." This unexpected development created new possibilities. Over the following months, as the conclave fractured along ideological lines, humanity found itself with allies among the stars. The Mendari, the crystalline Tholians, and 3 other species formed a separate coalition with Earth, sharing technology openly rather than as discards. Meanwhile, production began on Earth's second advanced vessel, the Achilles, incorporating further refinements based on the Odysseus's field performance. Research facilities throughout the solar system worked to adapt the new hybrid technologies for civilian applications, accelerating human development by centuries. 1 year after the first test of the Odysseus, a conclave fleet of 27 warships entered the Sol system, led by the Saurians and their closest allies. They demanded Earth's surrender and the dismantling of all hybrid technology vessels. Earth's response came in the form of the Odysseus and Achilles, now joined by 6 vessels from their new coalition partners. The battle that followed would be remembered in the histories of 17 species as the day the galactic order changed forever. "You,"